Choosing the wrong career can lead to a miserable life. Our next speaker is Yuri Kruman. Visit the Grad Career Festival website for additional information on his career, accomplishments, and coaching business. I'm pleased to introduce to you Yuri Kruman.
Thanks for the kind intro, Tobias. I really appreciate you having me on as a part of this. I really love what you guys are doing here. So what I would like to do today is to talk about essentially how to figure out what you want to be when you grow up. But also this applies equally well to figuring out, let's say, where you may want to build a business, or if you want to change careers. How do you really figure out who you are, where you're going, and then that helps you figure out how to get there, more tactical things. So I'm going to start by just telling you about my 4-pillar methodology, just to give you some background. I've worked by now with many hundreds of people to help them figure out what exactly who they are, what they're meant to do, and then how to translate that into a career, or how to build a business on that basis, etc. So that's the foundation for all of my coaching, and I would like to share it with you today. So the first pillar is life mission. What do I mean by life mission? Number one, this refers to what you want to be doing, not 30, 40, 50 years down the road for your legacy. This is not something about getting promoted or getting paid more in your current job. That's not really that interesting. What I'm talking about is 10 years down the road, when you want to have built a company of your own with your own image, your own mission, values, etc., or you have built the division of someone else's company, also with your own input, with your own staff and resources and budget and all of that. So working backwards, I should give an example actually. So what do I mean by life mission? So for example, let's say you decide that you want to eradicate AIDS in Thailand. Okay, great, wonderful goal. How do you do that? So think backwards. Okay, in order for me to create a drug, I need to raise a ton of money. That's the way pharma works. I don't know, I'm going to raise 40, 50 million. I'm going to start a company. I'm going to hire a ton of very talented people. There are going to be pharmacologists, operations people, regulatory, legal, etc. And I am going to have to create this drug, get it FDA approved, take it to Thailand, liaise with the health ministry, identify the target population, give them the drug, and then, hopefully within your stated goal of 10 years, you will have eradicated AIDS in Thailand. Congratulations. Of course, in practice, things don't always work out that way, especially when building a business, but for sake of argument. Now you want to work backwards from that point down the road, 5, 10, whatever years, and figure out between now and then, what do I need to gain in terms of experience, in terms of skills, in terms of networks, in terms of raising money, anything else I need to achieve my goals in that time. And then those elements go on a project plan, and then you start working on that project plan, on executing it. And regardless of what happens, whether maybe your effort fails or you have key people leave or whatever happens, you still have your plan, and you'll find a way around it when you're clear about what you're doing and how that aligns with who you are. Now, life mission also connects to something even greater, which is movement. So if you're so inclined and you really feel like you have something very powerful in your story, in your experience, what you're meant to do, then you have to take your talents to Broadway, so to speak. You have to think about, okay, in 10 years, not just, I want to have built a company, but I'm also looking to affect 1 million people or 10 million people or whatever it is, right? Something very ambitious through a certain lens, right? Meaning I've been through certain things in my life. I don't know, it could be health issues, financial problems, immigration, divorce, God knows what. Everybody has their stuff that they go through. And then based on that, I want to help others go through the same problems more quickly, more efficiently, without pain, right? So that could be leading a movement, and you're doing it in a certain way in your own image, etc. So that's life mission / movement. That's pillar one. Number two is what I call values. We're not talking about Bible Belt stuff here. Values look at people that you enjoy spending time with, people that you enjoy learning from. They might empower you to, let's say, figure out what you're meant to do. They might help you figure out who you are. right? People that make you feel like $1,000,000, make you feel like you learned something about yourself or about the world. Who are those people? What's common to them as personalities? Are they kind? Are they generous? Are they hilarious? Are they brilliant? What's going on there? How are they empowering you? Now, why does this matter? This matters because you want to work with people in your mission, on your movement. You want to work with people that are aligned with your mission, that have similar values, that push you forward, that make you greater than you would be otherwise. They help you to self-actualize. Okay, so when you figure out what your values are, you bottle that proverbial special sauce and you use that as a reference point going forward in all of your dealings. So whether that's in your career, figuring out, a good boss from a bad one, whether that's figuring out a good business partner from a bad one, whether that's figuring out whether you should hire someone or not, whether you should even work with a vendor or investor for that matter. Okay, so we have life mission, values. Number 3 is outcomes. What do I mean by outcomes? Outcomes have absolutely nothing to do with deliverables, right? The work we talk about, reports, spreadsheets, selling widgets, saving money, whatever. Nothing to do with this. Outcomes have to do with the theme of how you like to help other people to improve their lives, how you like helping improve the human condition. Okay, so what do I mean by that? There's several types of outcomes that are very typical. Okay, and most of us, very intelligent people who've done a lot of things, have done a lot of these different outcomes, right? But we are not always clear on which one brings out our best energy, best intelligence, motivation, etc. So what are these outcomes? Number 1, you have evangelists, small e. So I'm not talking about Joel Osteen on TV here. We're talking about people like Guy Kawasaki, for example, right? He's an evangelist for Apple. Um, an evangelist is someone who feels very, very strongly that a certain product, service, brand, cause is very important and dear to him or her. And that person goes out into the world and says, "Hey, come work on this with me. Come invest in me. Let's build something together that doesn't exist." And that person has a natural ability to motivate others and get them to do something that is good for everyone, hopefully. You have people that are niche experts. They love talking about, I don't know, some particular chemical compound and how that affects oil production. God bless. Okay, some people that's their niche expertise. Some people are natural operators. You give them a timeline, you give them a budget, and they say wham bam done. Other people are caretakers. They look out for others on their team or in their company or just in their life to see how they can support them to do their life's best work or to improve their life or to somehow better humanity. And that means giving them maybe material support, maybe emotional support, maybe some other kind of resources, whatever they don't have. Then you have people that are strategists. You put them in the desert and they'll figure out the exact way to the nearest oasis. Okay, so those are some of the most typical kinds of outcomes that people look for. Okay, that's in a job. Now, the last one, so we have life mission, values, outcomes. The fourth one is role. Role is not your title, it's nothing to do with work. This is how you react in situations where you're thrown off balance. So I like to give this example. You're traveling in Morocco with a group of friends and you get robbed by Bedouins. Uh-oh, what do we do now? Okay, so in that kind of situation, everyone defaults to their kind of natural propensity, right? So some people are operators. They say, okay, just give me the strategy, give me the plan, I'll execute on it. Somebody else is always, hey, let's go, let me take, whatever money you have left so I can go run and buy train tickets, get us out. Okay, somebody else is saying, are you okay? Did you have water to drink? Did you have food to eat? Someone else is the world's best Moroccan Arabic speaker, right? And they're talking to the Bedouins to try to convince them to let everybody go. Okay, so think about situations where you've been thrown off balance. Could be misadventures, could be facing a health problem, financial problems, anything of that sort, and how you dealt with it. What was your natural reaction? Okay, because that's something that we want to take as part of this exercise of getting out raw material about yourself, who you are, and what you're meant to do. Then we have two other things. So just to reiterate, life mission, values, outcomes, and role. Okay, that's 4. Then we have 2 others. One is negative scripts. So this is that little chirping bird in your head that says, hey, you're not good enough. You don't have the degree. You never got the experience. There's always someone better. Ooh, shiny object. Okay, so we all have that, myself included. And so you want to be aware of what that little bird is chirping, what it's saying. And you're not going to kill the bird. You're not going to get rid of it, but you want to start listening to it less. You want to understand, have your own biases about, maybe imposter syndrome or lack of confidence or self-esteem. And that's preventing you from actualizing yourself, from achieving your mission, from projecting your values onto those around you. Okay. And the last one, so we have negative scripts and what I call founding stories. In some ways, this is the most interesting part. This looks at formative experiences, right? What experiences have made you who you are today? So again, we've mentioned these already, but some people have health issues as kids. Okay, some people have financial problems they have to deal with. Some people are immigrants and went through hell, figuring out how the system works. Okay, some people go through divorce. Some people, live in New York City. That's hard enough. Trust me on that one. You want to figure out things like, what is your learning style? How do you process information? How do you make decisions? And you also want to look at who's influenced you, right? It could be anyone from a, priest, minister, rabbi. It could be someone's book you read. It could be someone's podcast you listen to. It could be a stranger in the street that really touched you and helped you see yourself in some better light. You want to think about all of those little encounters and what they've done to form you who you are today. And just as importantly, and this is regardless of age, you don't have to be Yoda or an old sage to look at whom have you influenced. Okay, this is actually critical because this becomes a way for us to see where you should be working, meaning in what particular role. How are you empowering other people through your work? Okay, maybe you enjoy, teaching a kid guitar at camp, or maybe you enjoy helping an old lady cross the street. Does that mean you have to do this exact job? No, but maybe it means that you enjoy working with kids and you can find a way to monetize whatever your favorite thing is. Or maybe you love taking care of others and hearing their stories, and maybe you do something with it. You write it up. I don't know. Okay, so you want to look at all of those different experiences and get all of this out of your system, because this is much richer, much more interesting, much more impactful than anything that could be possibly sitting in your resume, that is in your LinkedIn profile, that is probably much more than whatever basic conversation you might have with someone. And frankly, it's also much deeper than what most people would talk about with even their best friends or spouses sometimes. So this is very deep work. It's actually, interestingly enough, I just learned today that my methodology, these 4 pillars, are actually very close to what the NLP system of figuring out someone's personality, what it does. So for me, this came from my own experience. Just to give you some background, I'm in my 5th career. I started out in neuroscience in a PhD program at NYU back in 2004 after college. And in that first year, while I was in grad school, I built my first company, which was a Jewish social network. It was called juicyjews.com, believe it or not. I still have the t-shirts. Then I left after that year. It was just a terrible fit. And the company didn't work out, but being a good immigrant boy, I needed a grad degree, right? So you start seeing this kind of harmful thinking that somebody else, my mom wants me to get a grad degree, or, my brother went to work for Google, so I have to go work for Google, right? Those kinds of things, very harmful, negative scripts, okay? So I went into law. I did law school. I worked all throughout, graduated into the recession. There weren't any jobs. I went into finance to pay the bills, worked in credit risk and compliance. And while I was there, I decided, I want to go back to healthcare because, I was pre-med in college and I was doing research. So I went back and I tried to start a health insurance company of all things. It was called More Spinach. I don't know if you guys know Popeye the cartoon, but that's what it's about. And together with a health tech investor who was a friend of mine, we tried to build this company. Even if it didn't work out, it got me into health tech, which is where I spent a number of years in all kinds of different roles. Everything from business development, investor relations. I did product management. I did finance and operations. Pretty much everything there is to do. And ultimately, after being in health tech, I realized, you know what, as much as I enjoy working for peanuts, doing crazy hours with the hope that one of them will really work out and that my little tiny equity will vest into something, that I'm much better off doing my own company. I realized that coaching for me and consulting are really, that's my thing. That's what I love doing the most. And for me, within coaching and consulting, what I really enjoy doing is strategy, design, and motivation. And I feel like those things go very neatly hand in hand. And that's what I found in working with executive clients, whether that's in helping them build their businesses or to change careers. So here's a little bit of something useful you can take away that you can use. You can go on and do this exercise, this 4 pillars exercise, look at your life mission, values, outcomes, and role, and also make sure to delve into your negative scripts and founding stories. And then you'll be well on your way to figuring out who you are and what you're meant to do. And then the tactics of, okay, how do I polish up my resume, or how do I change my LinkedIn, or how do I reach out to decision makers? How do I make sure it's the company's mission and values align with mine? All of those are more tactical. But once you have a clear sense of who you are and where you're going, then all of those tactics and figuring out how to reach someone or how to find the right role will become much easier. And that's my hope for all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. Have a great one.